Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Meva Shamanaya Swaha Om Saishwaraya Vitmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahe Tanna Sarva Prachodayad Om Om Shri Bhagavan Shri Satya Sai Babaya Namaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam Lin.
Sairam Sharma. Thank you, Bhagwan, for letting Sharma and I have yet another discussion of your divine glory. Tonight, my topic is Ooru, Ledhu, Peru, Ledhu. I have no country, no name. This is what Ooru, Ledhu, Peru, Ledhu means in Telugu. Once during darshan, Swami had asked a foreign lady where she had come from. She replied, Peru, as in Peru in South America. Swami instantly responded, Ooru, Ledhu, Peru, Ledhu, and moved right on. In other words, he said in Telugu, I have no country, I have no name. So this is a very interesting discussion for me, because I became involved in a book called Ooru, Ledhu, Peru, Ledhu, No Country, No Name. I had met the author, Dr. Sara Pavan, in 1990. He was not producing books at that stage. He was coming to and fro to Prasanthi Nilayam. And shortly after the super hospital was built, Swami appointed Sara as one of the two senior medical consultants. Sara was running the operating theaters and was having a very different experience running the super hospital as opposed to his work as an anaesthetist in Sydney hospitals. I met Sara very rapidly. Swami came out one day and stood in front of the ladies' side and said loudly, where is the doctor from Australia? And I had met Sara just the day before. And I said to the Sevadals, I know a doctor from Australia. They said, go get him at once. I rushed to Sara's room and fetched him, and he went to the darshan area. And I believe Swami then called him for interview. Over the years, I was involved in a number of book projects with devotees, and I kept urging Sara to write down his experiences. Dr. Pavan had been born in British Malaya in 1938. And in those days, he was automatically a British citizen. After World War II, his parents returned to Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, intending to settle there, but Dr. refused to renounce his British citizenship to regularize his Ceylon citizenship. And when he graduated, he married, and on a British passport, he was allowed to go to Britain. But he had many difficulties with his visas, and he became what they call a stateless person when the British government enacted the Immigration Act of '67, denying him the right of entry to Britain. So he finally got an Australia migrant visa, no longer a stateless person. And shortly after that, he heard about Swami, went to India, and said, Swami, I want to work for you. Swami said, come back in 10 years, I will build a big hospital. So it was at that time that I met Sara, and I kept urging him to write a book about his experiences. This title, Ooru, Ledhu, is the name of a little book that is available in the ashram bookstore in Prasanthi Nilayam, also the book center here in New Zealand. It's a little book, only A5 size, 139 pages. But the extraordinary thing is that it is a 10-step program, which, if undertaken with sincerity and true spiritual effort, is certainly a passport to understanding who one truly is. Swami himself accepted the first copy of this little book on Ugadi Day 2010. Sara gave Swami the entire edition of the book. It was either 500 copies or 1,000. They were boxed up and placed there in the mandir on Ugadi Day. Swami looked at the book. Swara presented him with the first copy, and Swami then directed that all of the books there be distributed as prasadam to staff and students. It's the only time that I am aware that a book was distributed as prasadam to staff and students. And since then, it has become a staple in the ashram bookstore. The program itself is very simple, but it takes a lot of spiritual maturity. Just as the 10-step program has been established for Alcoholics Anonymous, Swami's 10-step program is one that asks us to drop all of our attachments to who we think we are. For example, I have no name. Sara used to say, then your name, whatever it is only your license plate number for this body car you are riding in. Swami is the driver, you are the passenger, and your name, whatever you call yourself, is the license plate number only. When you came into the world, you had no name. Before, in many other lifetimes, you would have had many other names, many other titles. You may have lived in many other countries. You have maybe had many other different religions. You may have belonged to many different races. And this is something that very few of us spend any time thinking about. We are very attached to our name. In fact, when we meet people, they'll say, what is your name? Who are you? And where do you live? What do you do? What church do you go to, perhaps? Who do you believe in? These are common social questions. And we judge each other based on these 5 things. Swami wrote a letter to a devotee where he explained that out of the one, he became many. And the many is all of us. As he said in the letter, there was no one to know who I am till I created the world at my pleasure. With one word immediately rose up rivers, mountains, seas, lands, sun, moon, desert sands, and all forms of human beings, mankind, beasts and birds. And so, Swami also explained that each one of us has got a blind spot. Perhaps you have heard this expression. When we have a blind spot, we cannot see the truth of a situation. For example, a person who is prejudiced against someone with a brown skin cannot see that that person is a divine being. They judge them only on the color of their skin. Or they may see, that person is a certain religion. That religion does not agree with my religion. Therefore, that person is not worthy of my friendship or attention. Again, this is called a blind spot. An ophthalmologist will tell you that a blind spot actually exists. It is where the optic nerves exit the skull, and also Swami pointed out that the size of the blind spot is directly connected to the presence of the practice of human values in the human heart. When a person has a big blind spot, we can say they are very prejudiced, they are very bigoted, they have very fixed ideas, they are very hard to convince that other men and women could be connected or related to them as divine family. A person with a small blind spot will be a very tolerant person. They will accept just about anyone. They will not judge a person on the color of their skin, on their name, on their caste, on what job they do, and so on. The little book, Ooru Ledhu, Peru Ledhu, covers these points. I have no name, and I have no country. I have no religion. I have no caste. I have no creed. And I have no duty. Now, this is important. Swami said, I have no duty, or rather, we have no duty of our own. Our only duty is to know who we truly are. And what is that? These were called the 5 negations. I belong to no country. I have no name. I belong to no race. I belong to no religion. I have no duty of my own except to know who I truly am. Once you have passed these 5 steps, and this will take some doing. For example, of course you have to have a name in life. Not just say to someone, I have no name, when they say, what is your name? You have to write out your name on forms and such like. But in truth, what is your real name? Your real name is Atma. Your true name is Atma. That is who you truly are. Can you say, I belong to no country? I belong to God. I will give a very good example from personal experience. On our first trip to Prasanthi Nilayam, my husband had front row, and Swami walked up to him and said, where do you come from? My husband replied, New Zealand, Swami. Swami said, oh, and walked away. My husband turned to the man next to him and said, did I say something wrong? And the man said, no, be here a little longer and you will understand. The next 10 years, my husband spent in study of Swami's teachings, reading books, meditating, making many more trips to see Swami. And then 10 years later, Swami came up to him again and said, where do you come from? This time, my husband said, Swami, I came from your heart. I came from you, Swami. I came from God. Swami said, very, very heavy. And he never asked my husband that question again. Swami asked that question of many people. Where do you come from? And that was the golden answer. That was what brought the big smile on Swami's face. I came from you, Swami. I don't come from any country. I come from you. Also, think of this. Do you really belong to any country? Swami said all the countries of the world are rooms in the universal heart. He spoke this during his 1997 Chinese New Year discourse. And that, again, was another eye-opener for me. A universal heart. All the countries in the world are rooms in the universal heart. Imagine that as an illustration. What does this universal heart look like? It must be enormous. And it must be a very forgiving heart to contain all these different countries who have so many problems of their own, wars, famines, pestilence, COVID, and so many more rooms in the universal heart. Still, they receive truth and righteousness. Each country, Swami said, contains a bedrock of truth and righteousness. It is up to the people of that country to uphold these 2 bones that hold the country together of truth and righteousness. If those 2 things are not upheld, the country will devolve and become a country that is unfortunately suffering from disease, famine, warfare, and many other difficult situations. Negative energies, as Swami said. First there must be truth, and then there must be righteousness. As I said, the little book, Ooru Ledhu, Peru Ledhu, is in two parts. The 5 negations. If you can say to yourself, I belong to no country, in your heart, I have no name except Atma. I belong to no race, I belong to no religion, and I have no duty of my own except to find out who I truly am. You are ready to move on to the 5 affirmations. Affirmation is like saying to yourself, this is truth. An affirmation, this is the truth for me. First affirmation is, there is only one human race, the race of mankind. Swami said to us in our first interview, what is mankind? I held up my hand and I said, Swami, it is the human race. He said, no. Another person raised their hand and said, Swami, it is the race above the animals. Swami said, no. Then Swami said, mankind. Man is kind. Man was born with the ability to be kind. Man should be kind. Second is only one Atma. There is only one Atma. What is Atma? Swami has said that it is Atma that powers the sun. It is Atma that lives within each of us as the spark in our spiritual heart. We are that. We are not a country, race, religion. We are that Atma. There is only one Supreme Lord. He has many names, many facets. Swami said, call him by any name, he will answer. There is only one Supreme Love, and there is only one primordial energy. One of the most beautiful quotations that I sourced for this book was this. Swami said, this prema is my distinctive mark. By sheer exercise of my will that blesses all, the prema that welcomes you all, that makes me rush to the presence of seekers, the suffering and the distressed on distant lands, that is the real sign of Parama Prema. It is that which declares that I am Sai Baba. I assisted Dr. Pavan with this little book. It took us, I think, about 6 months to put together. He came here to New Zealand, spent some time with me while we stretched and fleshed the book out. He had it printed, and he took it to Darshan on that date of Ugadi, 2011, 1 year almost before Swami left the physical body. Swami not only blessed the book, he had the book distributed to all staff and students. He took the book in his hand and went around the darshan rounds, then took the book back to his room. We were deeply touched because we knew not only had it made Swami happy, but Swami had given a 10-step program. If you can go through those simple steps, they are simple. It simply is letting go of who you think you are. Swami used to take a handkerchief and he'd hold it tight in his hand and he'd say, this is who you think you are. You are holding onto it so tight. If you could only just let it drop. But no, you want to pick it up again. He would let that handkerchief drop on the floor and then he'd say, you want to pick it up again. You want to take up these old beliefs, these old thoughts of who you think you are. You are not who you think you are. You are not who others think you are. You are that. You are the spiritual heart. Only Swami can point out this great truth. We are not who we think we are. We are not who other people think we are. Never be afraid that other people are talking about you, saying things about you, gossiping about you. Never be distracted by that. You should know who you are. By now, you should be in spiritual, what Swami calls university. He used to say to us, most of you are still in spiritual kindergarten. You think, oh, I will run to Swami. Swami will make everything all right. You have to do the work on yourself. You must do the work. And now that he is no longer in the physical form, we can't go running to Prashanti Nilayam every time we get a cold or we have some problem in our lives. Oh, Swami will take care of it. No. He was adamant that Prashanti Nilayam should bloom in our heart, that the whole world would become Prashanti Nilayam if only we installed him in our heart and followed his teachings. It was not so much, I want you to look at me, he would say. He wasn't concerned about that, like what color is his robe, what is Swami having for his lunch, what miracles are Swami doing. No, he wanted us to follow his teachings. That was what he wanted. That is what he still wishes. Each one of us is a vehicle for his teachings. Each one of us can at least begin the discussion. Am I really my name? Am I really the country I was born in? Am I really the job that I do? Am I really my title? MA, PhD, Dr. So-and-so. No. What am I? Who am I? The most important question you can ask yourself. If you have not done it yet, start now. Work on yourself. Save yourself. Swami said, this lifetime is your golden chance to escape the wheel of birth and death. How do we do that? Do we really want to come back again into this world where we have not learned our lessons? That's why we're here again, to learn our lessons that we didn't learn last time around. This is a golden opportunity beyond any price to find out who we are, to lay our heart at his feet, to know that we are one with the great universal heart. We have no country. We have no name. Our name is love. Our name is light. Our Atma. We are a room in his spiritual heart. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Sai Ram Lin Sai Ram. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amirtam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.